Hi, having a great day. You're watching JFG Entertainment, and for this video, I'm giving you some first reactions reviews of Moonknight to give you all this info and just to tell you what critics are talking about in Moonknight. So first starters, I'm gonna include the runtime of the first 4 episodes, as well as just like what people haven't saying about them, as well as like more info on it, like how does this compare to other Marvel shows, and like maybe like is it more violent? What is it more about? What can we expect from it? Kind of those type of stuff. That's what I'm gonna give you a lot of. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna tell you for in this video, and hopefully you end up enjoying it, and hopefully you get a good idea for what the show's gonna feel like, and hopefully this gets you more hyped up, or at least it helps you set your expectations. So yeah, that's what this video's gonna be about. I really hope you enjoy it, and if you do end up enjoying it, then just make sure to leave a like whenever you feel like you're enjoying the video. It would be very, very helpful. So please leave a like, as well as subscribe for other content. I'm definitely going to be covering the show as it comes out, and I cover everything that's Marvel, so subscribe for all that Marvel content. And lastly, make sure to leave a comment down below what your own thoughts or expectations on what the show is going to be about. I'm definitely curious to know down in the comments. What are your expectations for the show? I'm super, super curious. Okay, now let's get started. Okay, so critics have shown the first 4 episodes, so I'm gonna give you some first reactions reviews of these episodes, and the way that this video is gonna work is that I'm gonna read them for you as I put the first reaction reviews right here, and I'm gonna break it down for you to the key points that you can get from that first reaction review. But for starters, like I said, they got shown the first 4 episodes, so because of that, we got the runtime of the first 4 episodes. So episode 1 is gonna last, or it's gonna be 45 minutes long, which is a pretty nice runtime. Actually, that's actually pretty long. It's almost like 45 minutes is like closer to an hour. You know, it's one of the longer Disney Plus episodes. Then the second episode is 15 minutes, another really, really long episode compared to the other Disney Plus shows. That's a pretty long episode. Episode 3 also is 50 minutes, which is pretty interesting. Like, wow, okay, 50 minutes, that's really cool. And then episode 4 is 51 minutes, being the longest by a minute. But as you can see, all these episodes are really, really long compared to what other shows have. Like, I think Welcome to most of them had like 40 minutes, 30 something minutes. So as you can see, this show's gonna have way longer episodes, which is super good because, you know, the more content we can get, the better. So that's awesome. Okay, so now let's actually move on to the first chance reviews. And the first one's gonna come from Cian Marshall, and this is what he said. I saw Moonknight, and I promise you that you won't be disappointed. For those that feel Marvel's going to play it safe here, you're in for a hard-hitting treat. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Oscar Isaac is perfect for the role, and the score here is thumbs up. So that's what his first review was. So as you can see, it was very, very positive. First of all, it says that you won't be disappointed, which is really, really good. I don't want to be disappointed when I see a show, so I'm really hyped up for that. And as you can see, they said that Marvel's not going to play it safe here. For those that are fearing that Marvel's going to play it safe here, nope, it's not going to play it safe here. So that's great. That's really, really good. And that Oscar Isaac was great in the role, and that the score was awesome. So that gets me hyped up. I'm definitely very hyped up, and I'm really happy with this first reaction review. The next critic that I chose to put here is Tyrell, who said, Moonknight is an absolute game changer, and I watched the first 4 episodes with my jaw constantly dropped. Oscar Isaac gives an amazing performance. It's a psychological thriller with brutal action and unpredictable mystery. Get hyped. By episode 4, your brain will feel fried. And then mind-blowing emoji. So as you can see, another very first positive review, and this kind of sets the tone for what the first reviews of Moonknight kind of are. They're very kind of positive, saying that it shows a game changer, saying that it constantly dropped their jaw, just like this one. So as you can see, it's been really, really good. Almost all of them have been praising Oscar Isaac. As you can see, this one says that Oscar Isaac gives an amazing performance, which is really, really great. And he gives us the info that it's kind of a psychological thriller with brutal action. So once again, they mentioned brutal action, which I'm really happy about. I want to see that brutal action. And it has a mystery, which I really, really like. I think we kind of saw that by the trailer, kind of. So it has like this really nice mystery, which is really, really good. And then they said by episode 4, your brain will be fried. So I'm guessing something really big happens in episode 4. And I gave it another first time review that episode 4 does have a really big cliffhanger, so we'll see what that's all about. So those 2 reactions kind of give you the feel for what the critics are saying about Moonknight. However, how's the pacing for the show? That's a very common question with these shows. How's the pacing? Because most of these shows have very problems with a bunch of pacing. So how's the pacing? Well, this is what James McCarty said. And he said, one of the things I love about Moonknight, the more I think about it, is its pacing. I feel a true TV drama, but with big movie stakes, action, and scope. The best way to start the second wave of Marvel shows on Disney Plus. So as you can see, this guy's praising the pacing. He absolutely loves it. He says that the more he thinks about it, the more it's the thing that really runs on his head. That the pacing really, really works. And it works as a drama with at the same time having big scopes, which I actually wonder how it's going to work, because I don't know how Moonknight can have like huge scope, so I'm curious to see what the scope is in this show. I'm actually pretty curious. And like I said, they said that it has great action, so as you can see, action is right there. Action is right there, so that's really, really good. So yeah, they love the pacing, so apparently the pacing is good. However, just like he said that, well, there's a different critic that disagrees with this, and that comes from Daniel Baptista, and he said, Moonknight continues the trend of evolving the MCU into genres we've never seen. Oscar Isaac gives a tortured performance prepared for a slow pace that focuses more on a psychological character study with punches of action, hoping it picks up. More on the movie podcast soon. So as you can see, he still gave a pretty positive first review. He said that first of all, the MCU continues to like go on to these different genres, which we've been seeing from different shows. WandaVision kind of went to sitcoms, which is pretty interesting. Falcon Winter went to a political thriller. Loki went to a completely different thing. I can't really say what Loki was because it was a bunch of different things, but it was really fun. What if went to animation, a little bit more generic, but still pretty cool. Hawkeye went more towards a Christmas type of vibe. This one went into a different thing, which I really like. So I'm really hyped about that. Oscar Isaac gives a tortured performance, and I really like the word choice there. Like he said, tortured. I really like that. That means that he really makes you feel the pain, which I really like. However, he does say that he doesn't feel like the pacing really works. He said that it's a really slow pacing. So if and he says that this is more because it's more of a psychological character study. So if you like those type of things, you're gonna love the pacing. Trust me, you're gonna love the pacing. I'm gonna assume, just because of the way they're describing it, I'm gonna assume that it kind of works more a little bit like the Batman and the Joker type of pacing, where you really focus on the character studies instead of having like, oh, action here, action there, explosion, bam, 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 and it moves really fast. I don't know. This one's a little bit more slower, where they really focus on the character study, and I'm gonna assume that's what they mean by it. Like I said, I'm gonna assume to compare with other projects, which like I said, I haven't seen Moonknight, but to compare with other projects from what I've been hearing from this, it sounds like it might be like Joker and the Batman type of pacing. So if you didn't enjoy those movies as much, because I know there's people like that, then this show might have really bad pacing for you. But if you're somebody that really loves those movies, because of this, then you're gonna love the show. So that's really cool. So yeah, but he doesn't like it that much. He said it's hoping that it picks up. So we'll see what he thinks. We'll see how it ends up working for each one of you. So just give you that out there. Alright, continuing that, BOC said, Moonknight is ridiculously good. I know people have said this before, but this is truly unlike anything we've seen from the MCU before. You're not waiting for the big cameo, but you're rather invested in the story. Oscar Isaac kills it as Mark/Steven, which is two different personalities, and Ethan Hawke is terrifying, who is the villain in the show. He also added, while each episode is fantastic, the first and last episodes are the best ones by a long shot. This show truly feels like Raiders of the Lost Ark in the MCU, and I'm all here for it. I cannot wait to see the last 2 episodes! Exclamation point. So that's really good. So another very first positive first review. As you can see, most of them are pretty positive. So first of all, it says it's ridiculously good. Once again, they're praising Oscar Isaac for his performance. And Ethan Hawke apparently is really terrifying and scary as the villain, which is really good. He does look kind of terrifying in the trailer. So I'm really hyped to see that he does live up to it. So I'm really hyped for that, because we haven't really had almost any good Disney Plus villains besides maybe the one He Who Remains. That was a pretty good villain. Besides that, the villains have been meh. So I'm really good to see that Ethan Hawke does deliver in here. And here it says like, no, you're really invested in the story. It's not, oh, who's in the show? No, you're actually invested in the story, which is really good. However, we went to something that I really want to point out, and that's that he says that for him, the first and last episode, which is the first episode and the 4th episode, are the best ones by a long shot for him, which I'm definitely curious to hear that. I was like, wow, okay. So I'm really curious to see. So the show will come out 1 episode at a time. We're not gonna get the first 4 episodes in the first day like they did. So we're gonna get 1 episode at a time. So apparently the first one seems like it's gonna be good. And this is in fact backed up by James McCarthy, who I did mention earlier, and that's what he said. The first episode of Moonknight is everything I want in the show. It's everything we love about what the MCU can do, but goes way beyond it and positions it as one of the most unique shows / properties that we've seen. Isaac is great, and Khonshu is fantastic. So I don't really know who Khonshu is, so I'm sorry, I can't really tell you who that is, but it seems to be a cast member, which is cool. I'm curious to see who that is actually. But this is another very first positive first review. As you can see, he really loved the first episode. So I was just trying to point out that yep, the first episode seems to be really good according to James McCarthy and BLC, which is really great. And that's the episode that the show is going to premiere with on March 30th. So at least you know that you're gonna have a great premiere for that day for you to watch. And like I mentioned earlier, I think that episode was gonna be like 45 minutes. So you're gonna have some great time to just enjoy the show, and I think it's gonna be awesome. So yeah, that's really good. And he said that it really shows what the MCU can do, and it just makes it really well. It tells you the best things about the show, which I'm really happy to see. So I'm really happy to see the first episode. However, does that mean the second episode and 3rd episode aren't good? Well, somebody asked that to Mo, and this is what he said. The series moves exceptionally fast, and episode 2 is much stronger than any other MCU series' 2nd episode. Episode 3, though, contains one of the single best sequences in the entire MCU, and also pushes its actors to the absolute limits. You're in for a treat. Moonknight. So as you can see, no. Episode 2 and episode 3 are still great. Apparently, they're really good. First of all, episode 2 is much stronger than any other Disney Plus's MCU series 2nd episodes, which is really interesting. So that means that this episode 2 definitely has to be good because I personally really love Loki episode 2. So for him to say that, I think that Moon Knight episode 2 has to be really, really good. And apparently it moves exceptionally fast. So if you're gonna have a problem with the pacing being a little bit slower, well, episode 2 is gonna move a lot faster, which is really, really good, and that's great. And then it says that episode 3 has some of the best sequences ever, which means it's probably gonna have a really, really amazing fight scene, which I'm really excited to see because it's Moon Knight. I mean, it's street level fighting, so I'm super excited to see that. And it pushes the actors to its absolute limits, which I always love whenever shows can do that. Whenever they push the actors, especially when this show like this, where you really have so much potential to push your actor with different personalities and this and that. I feel like there's so much potential to push the actors to the limits and to give us an amazing performance. And apparently they do that in episode 3, which I'm super, super excited. So yes, those episodes are still great. Okay, moving on to some more deeper info on the show. So let's get started with that. And that's going to start with Tessa Smith, who I'm going to read the reaction of. And she said, Moon Knight is bananas pants crazy and heart-poundingly intense. Loved every second of its first 4 episodes. Oscar Isaac equals incredible. Ethan Hawke equals terrifying. Unlike any Marvel show, can't get enough. Epic soundtrack, score, visuals, and action. It's dark. Favorite Marvel show. Hashtag Moonknight. So first of all, she's very positive with this one. She's super, super positive. She once again says Oscar Isaac is incredible. Everybody's saying that. Ethan Hawke terrifying as the villain. So as you can see, he's definitely going to deliver as the villain, which is super, super good. She mentions that the show is dark, which I really, really like. So yes, it's dark, because that's what I wanted to hear. Epic soundtrack once again got mentioned, so I can't wait to hear the soundtrack. I'm really excited to that. And it apparently has amazing visuals, which is good. The CGI apparently is strong with this show, which is awesome, awesome, awesome. She did say this was some Ray Marvel show, and she just said that it was really, really intense. So that's what I want to see. I want to see intensity in this show. She also said Moon Knight is scary, suspenseful, and freaking amazing. It tackles mental health illness in a brilliant yet terrifying way, rivaling Joker, which is super interesting. Oscar Isaac expresses so many raw emotions, and he's absolutely phenomenal opposite himself. Khonshu is creepy AF, visually gorgeous. So once again, they mentioned Khonshu. I don't know who that is, and I might be completely mispronouncing the name, but apparently that's really, really creepy. So that's really cool. I'm curious to see what that is. However, here it says that they explore mental illness incredibly well, even rivaling the Joker, which that already itself is super high up there, so I'm super excited for that. Like, yes, yes, yes. Like I said, I still want to see this show. It's somebody with different personalities. Well, let's see what these different personalities can do to a person. Let's see what it can do to their mental illness and everything. So I'm really excited to see that. And it's exposed in a really nice, terrifying way, which I'm really excited to see. So that's great. I'm really, really, really excited to see that. So then people started asking her questions. For example, they asked her, is this show more brutal compared to other Disney Plus shows like Daredevil, ? And she said, I would say it is similar to Daredevil brutality, and I love that about it. So that's good. Apparently, it's a lot more brutal than the other Disney Plus shows because she compared it to Daredevil, which Daredevil was a way more brutal show. So you know, it's TVMA, which now it's on Disney Plus. So that's so cool. But anyways, as you know, that's TVMA, which means rated R. This show is not rated R, so I can tell you it's not as brutal as Daredevil, but that means that it gets pretty close to being as brutal as Daredevil, which is already awesome in it of itself. They also asked her, is the story original and interesting, and is it well paced? And that's what she said. I am finding the story absolutely captivating. I was all in from the first few minutes. I would say it is well paced. Lots of stuff to explain here, and it is important to dive into the Egyptian aspects, but done really well. Didn't drag for me, and I watched 4 back to back. So as you can see, she really loved the pacing. She absolutely found the story captivating. So in her opinion, the pacing did work compared to the different critic that said that the pacing didn't work. In her opinion, the pacing did work, and she said that she even watched all 4 episodes back to back. So that's interesting to note. I just wanted to give that information out there. And they asked her one last question, and I said, yes, can't wait. Did you pick up horror vibes? And she said, oh, for sure. Lots of horror/thriller vibes. I have been watching it on a long flight and legit screamed and jumped more than once. Sorry for the people around me. So as you can see, this show definitely has some horror vibes, thriller vibes, which is super interesting. And if it made her scream, then that means that it definitely has some pretty strong vibes. So I'm pretty excited about that. Like, yes, Marvel's definitely moving into the horror kind of genre with this, and also with Doctor No Multiverse of Madness. I'm super excited to see that. Okay, moving on to the last critic that I'm going to go on over the first review and more information on the show in general. And she is Julia Del Bel, at least I think that's how you pronounce it. And this is what she said. Moon Knight gets close to what I think a lot of people have been wanting for with Marvel on Disney Plus. Though certainly not as dark or violent as the Defender shows, it works as a standalone project, so that's new for Marvel on Disney Plus as well. So that's interesting. So it's not as dark as Defenders, like the person mentioned. It's a little bit, obviously, like I said, probably because of its rating, it's nowhere near, it doesn't get just there yet, but it is a way more standalone project compared to other Disney Plus shows, which sounds really interesting. That's what she said as well. Moon Knight feels more like a movie spread out into parts than any other Disney Plus show so far. So for people that's what's been bothering them, that's still a thing in this one. So I'm saying if that's been bothering you, then I'm sorry, you kind of got screwed here because that seems to be a big part about the show. Show said, I really loved episode 1 and the end of episode 4 of Moon Knight. Gets weird and mysterious. Definitely one of the MCU's Disney Plus shows that will drive theories and speculation week to week, which I was hoping for. So that's great. So once again, episode 1 is amazing, so just can't wait for that premiere. And then episode 4 is amazing, so it seems like Marvel's going to continue that trend of episode 4 being like peak cliffhanger. For example, WandaVision had that really cool cliffhanger whenever she throws freaking Monica out of the hex. Then Falcon Soldier had John Walker slamming the guy down. Then Loki had the timekeepers being fake, and so on and so on. And episode 4 What If was what was it? What's his name? Supreme Doctor Strange, which was a super cool episode. And then episode 4 of Hawkeye had Yelena. So they seem to continue episode 4 trend a lot. So I'm super hyped up for that. Episode 4 always delivers. And like she also said that this show will drive speculation week to week to week. So it's gonna be kind of like WandaVision and Loki-ish, where you really get to speculate a lot. As they did for some Hawkeye and Falcon Soldier, where there wasn't that much speculation. Loki is gonna be more like Loki and WandaVision, which that gets me super hyped up. She also said Oscar Isaac kills it in Moonknight, but he's by far the big star of this show. Though Ethan Hawke holds his own, it's really Isaac's time to shine here. Works as a great vehicle for him, but something does feel missing without a much standing out from the supporting characters. It's outstanding how many different ways the MCU has taken on a mental health on Disney Plus, with Moon Knight providing yet another take on it. I'm curious to see how people did respond to this show. So first of all, we can break this down by saying that as she did love Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight, once again praising that performance, and that Ethan Hawke did a great job as well. But that the rest of the supporting cast, she wasn't excited for her. She said that they really were like just kind of there. So that's interesting. That seems to be her in the show. So we'll see more whenever the show actually comes out. And she also said that it's really interesting to just see how Marvel has really focused into mental health. WandaVision had that, Falcon Winter Soldier had that with PTSD. Loki kind of had that with like child trauma and so on and so on. So I can definitely see what they're talking about. And Marvel once again does it again. And she says she's kind of really curious to see what people with actual mental disorder, with like different personalities, actually think about this show. So I'm curious as well. Let's see what they think about this. Hopefully they get represented well. And then she also said one last thing, and she said, it kind of seems to me like Moon Knight should have been a movie in Eternals, a Disney Plus show. But then we wouldn't get all that weekly speculation we're going to see with Moon Knight. So I guess it's fine. So as you can see, she really thinks that this really felt more like a movie. She mentioned that earlier. She said that this one felt more like a movie than any other Disney Plus show, which is why she seems like she's bothered by that, like the way that it's cut into pieces. That has been a big criticism for the MCU shows, that these shows kind of feel like big movies chopped up into episodes. So like I said, if that's been a huge problem for you, then I'm sorry, it's going to be a huge problem for you in this show. However, and she did say like she wishes Eternals was more of a Disney Plus show and this was more of a movie because it really just feels like a movie. However, she says that because of the speculation that this show will cause, according to her, then it's perfectly fine. So as you can see, there is going to be a lot of speculation on this show, which gets me super excited. So yeah, that's all the first critics and reviews that I'm going to be going over in this video. I hope you found this video very informative. I hope you found kind of what to expect from this show. I hope you got a better idea, like the runtime for the episodes, how it compares to other Marvel shows like Loki, Daredevil also, and everything, and just in general what to expect from the show to set up your expectations and to get you hyped up, hopefully. So yeah, that's what's going to do for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you did, then just make sure to leave a like. It would be very helpful. As well, subscribe for a lot of other Marvel content. Like I said, I cover all these shows and everything, so subscribe for all that Marvel content. And lastly, just tell me down in the comments what do you think about it, what exactly stood out from you in this video. I'm definitely very curious. Tell me that all down in the comments. And yeah, that'll be it. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And this is JVG Entertainment out.